Hey there, if you're listening to this podcast right now, you're probably into cryptids and monsters. Well, if you have a creative spark, you can always join us in our first ever Supernatural Selection zine project. For 2024, we are doing cryptid encounters, where you can draw or write a encounter with a cryptid of your choice, and we'll put it in the zine. The current submission window is from early January to late June. If you're interested in finding out more, you can always go to supernaturalselectionpod.com/zines. That is ZINES. Now back to the show.
Hello, you have fallen into the distraction hole. I'm your host this week, Kevin. With me is Mike. Mike, how are you?
I'm tired. I don't know why, just sleepy.
Okay.
That's
Is it the podcast juice?
No, it's
Okay.
just sleepy in general.
All right. Well, we're going to wake you up with some pop culture. And we've got David. David, how are you today?
Feeling much better. I was sick for about 10 days, and thankfully I don't sound like I've been throat fucked by a toilet scrubber, so that's good.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Like, I sounded awful. Like, Holly compared me to Gonzo the Great.
Like season one Gonzo?
Yes, season 1 Gonzo the Great. That's how
He was talking like this.
Yeah, that was pretty much me.
He sounded like Patty and Selma from The Simpsons in that season.
Yeah, it was very upsetting.
I bet. So, guys, it's distraction hole time.
Yay.
So, since this is, as always, shambolic at best, who wants to go first?
You know, we've taken so long to do one of these that I want to go first.
Oh, wow.
Yay.
Okay,
Yeah,
go first.
yeah.
Go first.
Yeah.
I'll go somewhere in there.
Because here's the other thing, like, I haven't quite decided what I want to talk about, so this puts me under the gun, so this is fantastic.
Alright.
Hey, motherfucker, get to talking, yeah.
Yeah,
Do
so,
it.
Like,
Do it,
it's
bitch.
been, wow, right in front
Yeah.
of my salad. Okay.
A little hostile there.
So, yeah, I was sick, so I had a lot of time to, like, sit back and watch shit and everything like that.
I'll bet.
So, there's so many things I could talk about, but I guess there are two things on my mind specifically right now. First is Three Body Problem, and second is Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire, because I saw that today. So,
Oh, nice.
Too
I guess we
Kong,
can do
Too
like
Furious.
a dealer's choice. Or we do a choice where you guys tell me what you want to hear about, or I can talk about both
I
of
mean,
them.
You know
can
what?
talk about both.
Yeah, let's talk about both. I mean, we're
I got
gonna
a couple of topics, so
Yeah, I've got a
Okay.
couple.
I don't think
Yeah,
I have
I
any
think-
one topic that could fill the time, so.
Yeah, I think we've got a few topics banked up. So, yeah, I'll start with Godzilla and Kong because that's fresh in my mind. Now, you guys gonna go see that?
I want to.
Like,
I mean,
have
I
you
probably will, but,
have you enjoyed the MonsterVerse?
I have, actually. I know I've actually enjoyed the... I liked the Godzilla movie that started the whole damn thing. Mm-hmm. And I liked Skull Island. And King of the Monsters was the best American Godzilla thing ever made.
Yeah, see, I'm a big fan of... So like, the quality of the MonsterVerse movies from, like, a film perspective, like plot, structure, character, that sort of thing, not great. I admit to that.
Yeah. Well,
But the same thing applies to a lot of classic Godzilla movies.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say, Mike, what are your feelings on the MonsterVerse? We kind of talked over you there, and I apologize.
I mean, I didn't really have a lot to say. I mean, I enjoyed what I've seen, but, it's been fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
what I'll say is, like, the best movie in the MonsterVerse, like, if we're talking about pure, like, craft of film, is Skull Island. I think
I
that
could
is,
see that.
Yeah, and then followed by the 2014 Godzilla, the one that kicked everything off.
Right. Love that one.
That being said, my favorite movie was King of the Monsters because it reminded me of Showa era Godzilla.
Yeah, well, I mean, Rodan, Mothra, Ghidorah, it had the whole gang.
Yeah, and I can now say that probably right now the most fun I've had with the MonsterVerse is Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire.
Well, you know,
Yeah.
it feels like one of those dumb ones where Godzilla would jump up a dance or something and Godzuki would show up.
There is some wild shit in the movie. I'm not going to spoil it. You know, there's a wrestling move.
Good.
There's do you remember King of the Hill? You remember Dale Gribble's defense?
Pocket sand.
Yes, there's
Of course.
pocket sand.
You're shitting me.
Yeah, it's it's wild, and it is probably the last, I'd say, 20 minutes is probably the most insane, like, American kaiju battle I have ever seen. I loved King of the Monsters. I loved Godzilla versus Kong. You know, with the Godzilla and Kong versus Mecha Godzilla. Like, that's fantastic. It's so colorful. They're, like, beating the shit out of each other. Like, this one is bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. And the thing is, this feels like MonsterVerse is fully in the Showa era, you know, monster wrestling picture mode.
Which, bring us Jet Jaguar, you cowards.
Yeah, I'm hoping we get Jet Jaguar, but like
Monarch. The next step for Monarch is to build Jet Jaguar.
Well, and I think they've already seeded that in the prequel comic to this movie.
Really?
Yes, because there is a very rich guy who's hunting titans in the Hollow Earth, and he builds a fucking mech. And,
oh my god!
It's not like a cool looking mech. It's very kind of like
shitty
American version of a mech, but it's like I can see them adapting, especially with because this movie takes place I think in like 2029.
Oh, okay.
And like the technology has progressed like in insane ways. Like it was even insane back in Godzilla versus Kong, right? You know,
yeah, I mean,
the heave vehicle and everything like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say they had hover vehicles.
Yeah, like I think Jet Jaguar is gonna come. I think he's gonna show up at some point.
I hope so. You know he's my favorite thing about the Godzilla movies, right? I mean,
yeah.
Just a giant robotic Jack Nicholson doing karate chops.
Yeah, like if and here's the thing, like if you would have asked me in 2014 if we were ever going to get like a live action or if we were ever going to get like an American Jet Jaguar, I would have told you no. But now 10 years, this is like the 10th anniversary of the MonsterVerse. It's like,
oh wow.
No, like Jet Jaguar would fit in so perfectly after this movie.
Yeah.
And like it's a lot of fun. Like there's some pacing issues. This is probably one of the better human subplots in the films.
Oh, that's good.
But it's mostly just like, okay, here's what Kong is doing in the Hollow Earth. Here's Godzilla kind of up on the surface wrecking other titans and taking little naps in the Roman Colosseum.
Right.
Yeah. Like they've basically because Japanese Godzilla has always been very cat-like. He
has to nap between fights.
Well, that and like his design has like cat-like features and everything like that after a certain point and everything like that. Very much.
The ears.
Yeah, MonsterVerse Godzilla is very much he does like the whole "if I fits, I sits" thing.
Oh my god!
With the Roman Colosseum, and it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. But like honestly, incredibly fun. I even like splurged for the collectible popcorn bucket that's like made of tin.
Oh yeah.
And then I've got the cup that comes with a little like figure topper because that's how the movie theaters are like getting people in there now. Is
oh yeah.
Yeah,
you know, the big collectors like I still don't
the
have the
Shai-Hulud
Dune popcorn. Yeah, I still don't have the Shai-Hulud. So I've got this like adorable little chubby Godzilla figure, and it's like a full on like pop culture PVC figurine, a good size, comes off the little cup holder lid. But it's cool, and it's like this is like an adorable Godzilla figure, and it's like, oh, I mean, if theaters are gonna keep doing that, keep at it.
speaking of adorable, I have a question about the film.
Yes.
And it's about the baby monk. The baby monk. Mm-hmm. Now, I had a theory about this. Is this like a Godzilla Jr. or what is that? Did they name it?
I don't think they actually give it a name in the film, but I think they call him Suko in the marketing and everything like that.
Damn it. Okay,
But
because I had a theory, and I'm sad now.
well, here's the thing. This is not a Scrappy Doo situation.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, no, but this little monkey is an asshole, and I love it.
Okay, see,
Like,
my
there's a very
thinking,
satisfying arc.
I was like, Mighty Joe Young is right there. This could have been Mighty Joe Young, and just say Son of Kong, Mighty Joe Young.
Like if you look at the trailers closely, you could kind of pick out like where the origins of this little tiny Kong ape are. Just they do a good job of like everything involving Kong and his little journey and adventure in the Hollow Earth. A lot of it is dialogueless, so it's up to like Kong to pantomime things. These kaiju have gotten so goddamn expressive.
Yeah.
Like Kong, like he has like these great facial expressions, and even Godzilla gets a bunch of them. There's a moment where Godzilla is kind of reunited with another character, and you actually see this like recognition in Godzilla's eyes. And it's very, very like adorable.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, honestly, fun fucking movie, man.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So I definitely recommend it. As of right now, I think it's my vote for most fun.
Okay.
It's not the best.
No.
If we're talking about strictly like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes you just want a fun movie. Like Blue Beetle was not a fantastic movie, but it was a fun movie.
Yeah, and that was kind of the deal that I had with the recent Ghostbusters, because that was the other one I was going to talk about. I
still need to see that. Mike, when are we going to see that?
Should be Sunday.
Awesome.
Now, what theater chain do you guys have?
Oh, so we have Cinemark and Malco.
Okay, so Cinemark gets the Slimer bucket.
Oh, great! We can get the dump truck ass.
Yeah, you can actually reach into your Slimer's mouth and pull out your popcorn.
That's disgusting.
Now, my theater chain, Regal, has the ghost trap, and it actually works. You press the button on the trap, the lid pops open, and you can eat your popcorn.
Dude, I'd rather have that.
Yeah, that does seem nice. If I wasn't already getting the HasLab PKE meter and ghost trap thing,
God, dude.
I would have been jealous, but
yeah. I really want that PKE meter. You just have no idea how bad I wanted one of those when I was a kid.
You're just gonna steal it from me?
Yeah, possibly.
When I was a kid, I had the real Ghostbusters toys, the proton pack, with
also cool.
Like that. Yeah, I had those, and I spent so much time running around because the beam was like a pool noodle.
Yes.
It goes at the end of the gun, and it was like the most amazing thing to run around and pretend I was a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, you're just smacking people in the head with a pool noodle.
I had very spoiled cousins that got pretty much every damn thing they wanted, so yes, I remember them having all that stuff.
Man, I think back about the toys that I had during my childhood. I had Ninja Turtles, I had the real Ghostbusters, I had Masters of the Universe, I had G.I. Joes. Man.
Yep.
Man. But, yeah. So, definitely thumbs up for me for Godzilla and Kong. Definitely see it if you like. Can we just talk about how crazy it is that, like, about 10 years ago, it looked like the Godzilla franchise was dead?
That's the thing. Much like the big lizard himself, the franchise has to take cat naps.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
It has to rest.
Like, I'm just thinking about the past couple, like the past, let's say last year, like
-1.
Godzilla -1.
Jesus.
Monarch Legacy of Monsters, which is really good.
Still need to see
this
that.
movie. Like, and then I've got that fucking Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong comic.
What the fuck?
It's the most ridiculous thing. I've been posting like panels here and there in our Discord, but like yeah, it's just, it's the Justice League and Godzilla and Kong. The Legion of Doom summons the Monsterverse Titans to the DC universe. Lex Luthor is building Mechagodzilla.
Of course he is.
Godzilla ends up laying out Superman and putting him in a coma, which, I told that to a friend of mine, and my friend got really, really upset about that because he's a Superman fan. And meanwhile, I was like, I mean, that's what happens in every Superman story.
You gotta in any Justice League story. It's kind of like in the X-Men movies where they have to knock out Professor X, or he's gonna solve the entire plot.
Yeah. Shit, that was the other thing I was thinking about talking about was X-Men 97. But
that's mine, baby.
Oh, there we go. So, the other thing I wanted to bring up was Three-Body Problem.
Mike, did you see any of that?
I have not yet.
I haven't
It's on
either.
my list.
Okay, so I won't get into too many spoiler details on that. So I saw the Netflix adaptation of it. And here's the situation. Sometimes I'll just put something on as a whim. And then, I was like, okay, I've heard about Three-Body Problem. I had a loose idea of what the story was. I sat down, put on the first episode. Holly joined me. She's like, okay, yeah, no, let's watch it. So we started the show at 6 o'clock. We finally finished watching it at about 4 in the morning.
Holy God.
Yeah, it was one of those where it's like, okay, I mean, because especially after that 5th episode. The 5th episode is the one where it's like everything kind of comes together and you're like, oh shit, okay, I see where they're going with this. And yeah, so that was the Netflix adaptation. I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it, obviously, because I watched it until 4 in the fucking morning.
Yeah.
That being said, I am going to try the Chinese original version of it, because they have all 30 episodes of that on Peacock. And I did the first episode, and obviously, like, adaptations change material and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the one on Peacock is very Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously, it's, like, dubbed or subtitled and everything like that. But, like, when I mean very Chinese, like, have you seen modern Chinese films?
The last one I saw was Crouching Tiger.
Okay, that's like, almost 20 years old at this point.
Yep.
Wow. So, like, if you've ever watched, like, any, like, recent modern Chinese cinema, it has a certain look to it. And I always felt it looked kind of flat. Like, so cinematography-wise, this one on Peacock feels very much like a TV show, whereas the Netflix version felt more like a movie, at least regarding, like, the cinematography and everything like that. But
right, more cinematic. I gotcha.
Yeah, and, like, obviously, I'm looking at it now, and I know that the Netflix version changed a hell of a lot. So I'm definitely going to watch the Peacock, like, one, the one from China. But it's also, like, 30-hour-long episodes.
Well, and also you have to realize the Chinese one may be more censored than the Netflix one.
Yeah, that's
because
the
of
other
the
thing.
Chinese government.
I was reading about like the novels written by the Chinese author, and there was mention of like how they had to move a certain thing in the book to the middle so that way censors wouldn't catch it. Meanwhile, that thing is how the Netflix version opens.
And the American version of the books, from what I read, also open with that scene with the Cultural Revolution.
Yeah, and it's amazing, like, that sequence opening the Netflix show. Amazing. Fantastic, and it really sets the tone for everything that happens.
That's the way he had originally written the books. It's just, they did not like that.
Yeah, and for pretty obvious reasons. And the other thing is...
from what I also understand, he's very critical of the CCCP.
And you get that from what I saw. You really get that. Well, and the other thing is, like, I really like the Netflix version because it feels like it's a world incident. Whereas this the original version is going to feel very, very much like nationalistic, like, but then again, like, I'm sure the Chinese would have the same complaint about, like, a film or a TV show where the principal cast in the principal nation is America.
Oh, yeah.
But,
no,
like,
that's...
yeah, they did a good job of making it more worldly in the Netflix version from what I've seen.
Yeah, the Chinese audience would probably have a very similar thought of, like, say, the Mission Impossible series or, the Bourne Identity.
But yeah, like Three Body Problem, really good. I think you would like it in particular, Mike.
No, yeah, it's been on my radar, like, even before this, like, just the book itself.
Yeah, I was familiar with the book.
Yeah.
I'd heard good things about it, just never got around.
Yeah, I
haven't read a lot lately, so...
Yeah, give it a try. Give it a try. That way we can have, like, an actual, like, spoiler-ish discussion, because there's a lot of interesting ideas, and I haven't read the books, and I've barely even read any summaries of it or anything like that. But there's a certain thing that I could see the Netflix show doing that would be fantastic, but I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off, because Netflix likes to cancel shows after 3 seasons.
Or 2.
Yeah, or 2, or 1.
Yeah.
But, yeah, Three Body Problem, excellent. The Chinese version, I think, is just called Three Body. But, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give that one a try as well, and let you guys know what I think. Other than that, though, the only other thing that I've been, like, preoccupied with is, like, that burning desire to write a novel. Because I've written a couple of novellas, you know what I mean?
Yes.
But, like, and one of them, Fang and Bone, which is one of the most popular things I've written, it's a short novella, but it's still a novella, and I'm like, I kind of want to expand it into a novel, but I'm also kind of feeling guilty about that. Because, well, the 10,000 page comic in the room being Cosmic Dash.
Oh, right. Sorry, my bad.
No. And here's the thing, like, I'm not in a position to really work on the comic right now, especially with, like, everything going on and, like, the revamped plans that I've probably told you about. So part of me is just like, I should take a break, let things settle down, but in the meantime, I've got to have, like, that creative outlet. So I'm really spinning my wheels thinking about that novel idea. So, so it's either I'm thinking about shit that I want to do, or I'm watching science fiction shit. So,
yeah,
that's how it's been. So, that's about all I got.
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna say I really want Gamma Up.
Yeah. I haven't watched the show that they did on Netflix, the animated one, but it looks pretty good.
I need to check that out. I forget about that.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. Cool. Mike, you can check out Three Body Problem and let us know what you think.
Okay.
You know me. I don't watch a lot. I'm a terrible human being. So Mike, do you want to go next?
I can.
Go next. Be bold, I command it.
So, first off, I want to continue to talk about Helldivers, because it is Helldivers 2 and specifically, but I have not, like, had a game like this in years, maybe even decades. One where I'm, like, at work and I'm thinking, man, I just want to get home and play Helldivers. And then I'm at home and I play Helldivers and I stop. I'm like, okay, I'm tired of playing Helldivers, and I stop playing, and I'm like thinking, man, I kind of want to go back to playing Helldivers. So it's just, I don't know, it's just been not quite an obsession, but it's definitely, like, hits a lot of buttons, and it has, hasn't been hit in a while.
Mm-hmm. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's, like, a live GM component of it, right? Like, there's actual developers playing it. Has there been progress regarding the...
So there is Joel. Joel is the, for lack of a better term, game master. He's in charge of, like, making sure the war goes the way they want it to. Like, it doesn't, like... So, for instance, when the game first launched, it became so popular that they had to adjust. They had to adjust the player impact on the world. Otherwise, things would have gotten overrun and liberated way too fast, faster than they expected. Just because just so many players making such a big impact.
Right.
So, but yeah, he's there to make sure, because I'm sure they have a ebb and flow. They kind of, this in the small scale players can impact it, but I'm sure in the large scale they have a idea of where it wants to go, versus how far back the automatons and the bugs are pushed back versus, when they start encroaching. So, so yeah, I mean, they have their thumb on the scale.
Now,
I mean,
I just sorry, I got to throw another question at you.
Sure.
As someone who's been playing it a lot, how would you feel if they offered like the ability to be the GM for the day? Yeah, for like $1,000, you get 24 hours in which you can control that stuff. Now, how would you feel as a person who could potentially purchase that? And how would you feel as someone who would be on the receiving end of that as a player?
That would be a nightmare because, they would just go, if they didn't have limits, someone would just go ham. And if they did put limits, then, well, what's the point?
I would love to see I'd love to see the toolkit that they use to actually run that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It could be something just as simple as some, command lines like, bot, spawn, multiply, not spawn, but like, liberation negative multipliers. Because basically what it is like when you complete missions. So depending on difficulty, when you host a mission, like say you go to the map and you pick, you're going to start this mission. Depending on difficulty, it can be like one mission up to a string of like 3 or 4 missions that are part of the whole little thing. And you get better bonuses. Like say if it's a 3 mission group, you get like X amount of reward for completing one, but if you complete all 3 in the group, you get better rewards. But also, the more missions you complete, the more the completed missions count towards liberating that planet. And so that's where I think where they come in and just kind of put their thumb on the scale in that right now, like I've run some missions where we're finishing that mission, even finishing it, to the best that it could be done, all the goals and side objectives completed, only contributed 0.0001% to the liberation of the planet.
Oh wow.
And I'm sure at first those were probably like 0.1% or something like that. And so that's where I think they kind of started cutting back and making, player impact less impactful.
It would be so funny if it was like one of those VR MMO animes where it's like, you got the development team, there's a lone computer attached to the server, and they sit there and they enter the code to adjust the game settings as people are playing the MMO.
Yeah. I will say it has some very interesting netcode because it's 4-player cooperative. You're playing against all, computer AI bots basically. And so I was in a game one time and there was some kind of random disconnect. I don't know exactly what happened, but it's just some kind of network error. And so, but I'm continue playing. I just noticed I'm all alone all of a sudden on the map. Whereas the other guy, I was just me and one other guy who we happen to be on Discord together is someone I kind of know from back in the day. And he also got disconnected, but we continued to play our own copies of the game, of the map. Like, so to him, it looked like I disconnected, and to me, it looked like he disconnected. But we're both in there, and we could both. He was able to finish the mission right away, and then join my game, and then finish the same mission again to double dip in the rewards.
Ooh.
So yeah, he like joined right as I was extracting at the end.
Interesting.
So yeah. So just some interesting, net stuff. And that it's not all, rainbows and sunshine, because there are a lot of random you just drop for no reason. Like the game just plops you back on your ship. And you're like going, what the fuck just happened? But they are getting better. Like any game, they're like at, I think, 1,000 times the player base they expected to be at. So they're just having to wing it and do the best they can. And they're a small studio. I think they're from like Sweden or Switzerland, something like that. So they're doing the best they can, but I think they're still, as buggy as it can be at times, it's still pretty fantastic.
Yeah, I've not heard a lot in the way of like major complaints about games not launched. The one that I've been hearing about lately is the Battlefront re-release, and like how that like just fucking fell apart. But
Yeah,
it sounds like Helldivers 2
that.
isn't really having many issues in comparison.
Not to that scale. It, there's some balance problems, some, network problems, some stability problems. Like they're literally I think the newest patch fixed it, but there was a gun that if you use that gun, it wasn't a guaranteed game crash, but if you're in a game and someone's using that gun, there's a high chance one time when they use that gun, it's just going to crash your game. And it happened to me. And,
wow.
On one planet, there's snow. Like, well, on a couple planets, there's several planets that have snow. But if you're in deep enough snow, you can make a snowball and throw it at another player. But apparently if you make a snowball and throw it, that has a chance of crashing the game too.
Like you're talking about actually literally like your character will make a actual snowball and throw it?
Yeah, you'll look down at the heavy snow and you'll get a action prompt that says make snowball, and you can make the snowball.
Huh.
And yeah.
That's cool.
Just like you have you have an emote you can do at any time, and some of the emotes are interactive. So like the salute, if you salute emote, somebody can come up and salute back, and they'll get a prompt for it. Or you can hug. One of the emotes is hug, where you can hold out your arms and another player can come up and give you a hug.
Oh.
And my favorite one is our rock paper scissors, which is the same thing. You hold out your hand, and if someone else acts on it, you have a little game of rock paper scissors by hitting numbers 1, 2, or 3 to pick rock, paper, or scissors.
Oh, that's cute.
So there's a lot of like, little fun interaction stuff.
Hell yeah.
Along with the horrifying dying all the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, isn't this a war simulator?
Oh yeah, no, it's totally like, and not even just a war simulator. You're like you're not the good guys.
It's a bug hunt, man, a bug hunt.
Yeah.
Yep, pretty much. And then there's robots.
Robots.
Yeah. So that's what I've been doing, but also been watching some stuff. Unfortunately, Freerun season 1 is over, and I'm super sad about that.
Yeah, I need to catch up with it.
So it last Friday it ended that.
Now what is that show?
That's the elf.
Oh right,
girl.
yes.
Elf
Okay,
woman,
the one
whatever.
you told me I'd probably like.
Yeah, it's basically what happens after the big boss fight, and your elf mage outlives the rest of her party.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we just wrapped up the second task in the magic exam, and I gotta say they did a good job of introducing a lot of interesting supporting characters in this arc.
Yeah,
Like I can't think of a single one that I think is like I'm not interested in them.
yeah, no, they're all interesting. They're definitely a lot more fleshed out than you expect for characters that just kind of pop up more than halfway through 26 episode season.
Yeah, I think we're on like episode 24 maybe.
Yeah, so we only have a couple left.
Yeah.
Also, I'm still watching Dungeon Meshi, still a hoot. I think there's a lot more episodes. I think we're only halfway through the season for that one.
What number is the latest episode? I haven't been able to catch up
13.
with that one. Oh, 13?
Yeah, I think it's another 26 episode one, because everything it's hard sometimes to know for sure, but I've looked it up and it looks like it's supposed to be more episodes.
Yeah, I started reading the manga, so I got pretty far ahead into the story. I just haven't had a chance to watch the episodes.
So yeah, the latest episode they saved the sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when I saw that in the manga, I'm like, oh god, all the lovingly rendered food.
Yeah.
Here's the dark side of it.
Yeah. That's still awesome. So I did watch a rather weird, not weird, to call it weird is kind of a disservice, but definitely a off the beaten path kind of anime. I don't remember exactly how I became aware of this one, but it is called, wait a minute, let me find the, where's the Wikipedia? There it is. The English translation is O Maidens in Your Savage Season. Are you familiar with this one, David?
No.
So, all right. So the kind of trope of girls reading like the steamy romance scenes out loud.
Okay.
Of a book. Well, it's a literature club that does that. Reads, and so they're very. I wouldn't call them sex crazed, but definitely curious to the extent that teenage girls probably are normally about that stuff, because the mangaka is a woman, and she basically wrote it, about, not about herself, but it's very, self-inspired. Mm-hmm. But it was definitely a interesting watch, because it's all, about sexuality from a teen girl's perspective, which is a very underserved kind of viewpoint.
Right.
So just a bit embarrassing to, talk about, though, that you watch this, because it seems very, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Lascivious? What's that word that's like salacious? One of those words, bad.
Lascivious,
bad
that
connotation.
Would work. Yeah. That would work.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's, treated respectfully. It's not like, while it is, I guess, technically ecchi, it's not like done for, fan service.
Yeah, and,
right.
Also, like, part of the way to get rid of the stigma about talking about this stuff is to create media that explores it, normalizes it. So
yeah, and we had a female friend that really liked the character, what's her name, from Bob's Burgers, the oldest sister, Tina. Yeah, really liked Tina from Bob's Burgers, because being kind of boy crazed and obsessed with butts reminded her of herself. And that teen.
She said it was like the first time she'd seen something where she felt seen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, we get all this media about boys and how what they're into and what they think about it, but you don't really see the girls' viewpoint. And you kind of think that, well, they must not think about it. It's like, no, they do.
Yep.
Just the industry doesn't feel that their viewpoint is sellable.
yeah, well, it's part of the reason why I'm so interested in how Dungeon Meshi's been received, because it's got a huge female fan base, and it's written by a mangaka who is a woman, and there's definitely thirst in it, and it's interesting to see how that thirst is explored. Like, I've seen more panty shots of senshi.
Oh yes, yeah.
Than any character.
That is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So no, it's been very interesting to see how, like, and also, like, the other thing about Dungeon Meshi I've appreciated is that it's like very body positive. like a lot of like normal looking, like just bodies of characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's like, nobody there is like just, stereotypically, hard body or,
Yeah, so it's
like,
been fun to see how women, like women manga fans and anime fans are reacting to it. It's been it's been adorable.
yeah. Even what's his name? Laos? What? Yeah. He's not like super big chisel buff. He's just kind of like, strong dude, but not like bodybuilder.
Right.
Yeah, he actually has a little bit of a gut because he's been eating real well.
Oh yeah, he likes to eat, so
Yeah.
So yeah. And last thing I want to mention is I'm 2 episodes into Shogun, which is, have you seen any of it?
Yeah, I'm caught up on it. Like that's the thing. Like every Tuesday, Holly's like, "Hey, are we watching Shogun? Are we watching Shogun?" So she's gotten really into like samurai shit because of that.
So it's interesting. Like there's the novel, which I knew existed but never read. There's the 70s
1980
TV miniseries, 80s miniseries, which I also knew about but never. I might have caught some of it. I'm sure it had been rerun at some point. But never really watched. So yeah, watching it, my first thought watching it is, wow, these motherfuckers really like killing themselves. So I had to do some, research going, I know this can't be like, I wanted to know the historic, truth about, all that. So I had to look it up, and yeah, no, seppuku was one of those things that, yes, it happened, but it was that you had to really fuck up for someone to demand you commit seppuku. Now, sure, you could probably commit seppuku if you felt you had transgressed too much, but no one's going to require you to kill your babies and everything to end your family line.
Well, but it also kind of depended on the like the hierarchy as well.
Yeah, the hierarchy in the era, sure, but in this era was not that bad. Like it was. Yeah, if you were a commander in battle and you ran away, yeah, they would make you, kill yourself. But
yeah.
If you spoke up during a meeting to defend your master, they that would not, you'd not be expected to kill yourself and your
it was
baby.
a little heightened and dramatic for sure.
But that's from the book, and it's it was. I don't know what the guy who wrote its aims were there, if he knew better or if that was just what he thought they did or what maybe at the time they thought they did. But
I read the novel a long time ago. I'm actually wanting to revisit it, and I've seen the 1980 miniseries.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's been interesting to watch this like big budget update to something that I'm familiar with.
Yeah. But so one thing I was struck by, just even after the first episodes, I was struck by after watching that is this is a third pillar of the Wheel of Time series. I could just tell by watching it that Jordan took a lot of influence, because I know he already took influence from Lord of the Rings and Dune. But having seen Shogun, I'm like, and there's just so much, like even in a translation or an adaptation from, novel to television, there's just, it's just dripping with it. Like Wheel of Time is like, if you took those 3 properties and threw them in a blender, you would get the Wheel of Time. It has the political maneuvering of Shogun in the Wheel of Time. In the books.
Same thing with George R.R. Martin, because he's spoken quite publicly about like how Shogun influenced him with Game of Thrones and that whole series, and like watching Shogun, it reminds me of like the really good early Game of Thrones with the political maneuvering and everything. Like, and that's the thing. Like, give me a period show about political maneuvering, and I'm very happy. I love it.
Right. Yeah, I'm interested to see it just because I remember how big a deal Shogun was when I was a kid. And like my parents watched it, and and it was like the origin of the miniseries. That and Roots were like the big deal.
Before that, like miniseries weren't really a thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, after that, they became too much of a thing.
Yep. Kind of hurt the idea there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Too much of a, thing.
Yeah.
So you're what, 2 episodes into it?
Yep. I'll probably watch episode 3 tonight.
Yeah, you should definitely, Kevin, you should definitely watch it.
Yeah, and I will at some point. I just need to, actually do that thing.
Well, and it's also an opportunity for me to be like a socially respectable weeaboo, because I like know a lot about like Japanese history and everything like that. It's always been fascinating. It's not just anime for me, right? So it was fun to sit down and watch this, and Holly would have questions about like the power structure and that sort of thing, and I'd be able to like rattle off such and such. I'd be able to rattle off like here's some certain civil wars that were going on at the time and everything like that. So it's a show that makes me feel smart too.
Yeah.
Well, heck, I've been training like all my life to watch this show because like it's got subtitles. Like I like that they didn't flinch away from having them. Although honestly, the fact that when they're speaking English, it should be Portuguese, but for the most part. But yeah, no, that it just packed with subtitles, and it's like I have trained for this. I can watch a show and not even realize I'm reading subtitles.
Yeah, Mike's sitting here going, "Ha, you stupid bastards."
Can we talk about how fucking magnetic Cosmo Jarvis is as Blackthorn? Like that dude, like I don't know where he came from.
I don't know either.
But like I'm very interested in his career because like he fucking is killing it as Blackthorn.
He I don't know, he has a really good like I don't know what the fuck's going on face.
Well, and also like when he growls like his swearing, because like the swearing in the show is top notch. Like when he's like growling his swears, it's like really good. Like all 3 lead performances in the show are fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those where I hope, Kevin, you get a chance to watch it, because I would have loved to have a more in-depth like discussion once we've all seen it, because there's so much going on in that show.
Kevin, you have homework now.
Oh boy.
That's kind of become a thing on the show, hasn't it?
Giving homework?
Yeah. Because there's always like some sort of, you should watch this, and one of us ends up like ending up watching something and reporting back like, it's good.
Yeah.
I've noticed that.
Yeah. So I know Kevin's topic is going to has me with homework because I've been meaning to watch it.
Yeah.
That could be a segue.
Yes. Do we want to take a break before we do my segment?
Yeah, that sounds about right. We're getting close to, 50 minutes here?
Yeah, let's take a quick break, and we will be right back after this.
Words from our sponsor.
We wish. Hi everyone, this is Kevin from Supernatural Selection. Are you an independent creator? Do you have a webcomic or an Etsy store? Do you 3D print things? Or are you just looking to get some word out for your Discordian cabal with social terrorism? Well, we'd love to help. And David, I believe you've got some details about how we can help.
Why, certainly. If you go to supernaturalselectionpod.com/contact, that is supernaturalselectionpod.com/contact, you can learn how to advertise with us.
That's right. I believe the rate is $2 per episode. You can't beat that with a stick.
I mean, trust me, we've tried.
Yeah, that's cheap. That's literally cheaper than dirt.
Mm-hmm. And best of all, if you're not sure how to write an ad, we'll do it for you. We'll even record it.
Absolutely. Just let us know what you need in the ad, and we'll be happy to do that for you.
And again, that URL is supernaturalselectionpod.com/contact.
And now, back to the show. And welcome back. We are back from our break, and we are going to be talking about something I want to talk about now. So here's the deal, right? I don't watch a lot of stuff. Like I said before, I'm kind of terrible about that. But I have, thanks to the show, I do a lot of reading. And I want to geek out about books for a second. First off, when me and Dusty went to Memphis here recently to meet some friends, and we got to just sort of, hang out with them. And we also went to some secondhand bookstores. So I think I said this during Supernat. Big shout out to Burke's Books, which is a 145-year-old bookstore in Memphis. They have a lot of secondhand books and also novels, which is connected to the Memphis Library. I got some really good secondhand books, one of which is an ESP book on Edgar Cayce, and the original receipt from the Walden Bookstore fell out from December 27th, 1973.
Oh, yeah.
It is a 78-cent book that I paid $2 for. And I may have paid too much by $3. I'm not sure yet. Also, one of my co-conspirators on Spooky Dice Bag is sending me 3 batshit insane books about the stuff we talk about on the show. So, can't wait to get a hold of those. That's going to be great, because those books sound incredibly stupid. So, yeah, that'll be fun when we get there.
Yeah, I remember you guys, because I obviously wasn't on Week in Weird, and I remember you guys discussing that on that episode. And again, I need to point out, like, when I'm not on Week in Weird, it feels like I'm a ghost. Because I'm having conversations with you guys
but
as I'm listening, and I wanted to rip on you so hard for the Kate the Kate Beckinsale thing.
Oh yeah, no, you know what? You're right. Me and Mike wanted to talk about that for a second. We apologize for saying Kate Beckinsale. Mike, what was it we said earlier this week when we were talking about it?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We meant, I think we meant Kate Bush.
Yes, it was Kate Bush. We apologize for the mix-up. So big apologies to Kate Bush there.
Well, I think you're
for
somewhere
not
in the
getting it
Middleton.
right. Yeah. Ooh, nice. I like that. So, now, that being said, the books that are being sent to me, though, are going to be, like, Electric Universe stupid. So, going to be fun. Going to be real fun. I'm really looking forward to this. This is going to be great.
Say that now, then you're going to read them and just banging your head against hard objects.
I will, in fact, be 10 times stupider. So, that being said, now, one thing that has been really, I've been digging for the last 2 weeks is X-Men 97.
Da-da-da-da-da-da.
I am so freaking excited about that damn show. I mean, like, it's X-Men. What do you want, man? It's fucking great. It is goddamn great. So I'm just really glad the show's back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else to say. David, what's your thoughts on it so far?
Well, I was going to say, like, the minute that the theme song kicked in, like, I felt like I was 8 years old again.
Yeah, no. And here's the thing. I was like, graduated high school when that show finally came out. Mm-hmm. And this is funny, actually. Mike, I don't know if you remember this. Like, we knew there was an X-Men cartoon coming.
Yeah.
And it was delayed by, like, a couple of months. And the weekend it was supposed to debut, it didn't, and they played this god-awful thing called Solar Man of the Atom, which is based on another Marvel thing. It's like a shitty pilot that Stan Lee had made.
Mm-hmm.
And holy fuck was it terrible and infuriating. So, that being said, the show finally debuted, and let's all admit, the animation on that show was not good.
Oh yeah. Like, the show was more of a writing thing than a animation thing. For me.
It was serviceable.
It was certainly a thing that happened.
I can't tell you how fucking obsessed I was with that show as a kid. Because I used to have the action figures.
Oh yeah, I think all of us had some of the Toy Biz action figures.
I also had the promotional VHS tapes that they were giving out at Pizza Hut.
Oh my god.
Yes, so I had like 5 or 6 episodes on VHS tape, and they were the black VHS tape boxes with like the gold stuff on them. Yeah, like I had those.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I was a pretty cool fucking kid, man.
Yeah, man, I wish I was your friend.
Dude, we would have been such friends.
Yeah, well,
although
I mean,
a bit weird of like you being like a high schooler and me being like this nerdy ass 8-year-old.
Yeah, not the strangest friendship I've ever had, but nonetheless.
Fair. Yeah.
So here's the thing. I got excited because the first thing I thought when they said they were going to do X-Men 97, I was like, oh, hell yeah, we're going to get a new season with better animation. And then I saw the designs that got, they put out, and not in motion. You're just sitting there going, well, this looks the same.
Mm-hmm.
And they had, the previews came out, and there wasn't much in the previews. I was like, well, this looks... They've managed to completely recreate the animation looking like Garbo, but that's okay. I'm not watching it for the animation. And I discovered we were lied to. They'd held back the best stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first thing I saw before the show debuted was the Sentinel fight.
Yeah, and that one has a lot of like motion tweening.
Oh yes.
But the original show had that, but they do it pretty well in the new show. But like what I love about the animation is that they maintain a little bit of a stutter to it.
Yeah, and apparently they're still doing it like hand animation. They're just doing it digitally now, so that's really fucking cool.
Yeah.
God, I'm just so fucking excited the show's back, and it's good.
It's hard to figure out what to talk about because like I feel like we could just gush over all of these like tiny little things. You know what I mean? So here's what I propose. Now, Mike, have you watched this at all?
No. This is my homework.
Okay, so this will be between me and Kevin. But Kevin, I want you to give me the top 3 things that you love about this relaunch.
Okay. Top 3, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 1, Morph is a goddamn character.
Yes.
Like, he's actually developed now. And I'm so here for that. Because, and here's the thing about Morph that got me, all right? First off, I had a comic I was trying to pitch to companies called Morphus, and then that show came out with Morph in it. I was like, you sons of bitches! But, he was thrown in. He's based on a character from the X-Men called the Changeling. Like, his facial design from the original series. It's basically, they just took the Changeling, called him Morph, and stuck a character in that they could kill in the first, 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And the reason was because they were like, we got to kill somebody in the first couple episodes so people know there's stakes. And then the original plan was we're going to kill Thunderbird again. And then someone in the production said, hey, how about we not kill the Native American guy? So they came up with Morph to kill. And unfortunately for them, it endeared Morph to people.
Yeah, to where Morph came back and had a really interesting
Yeah,
character arc with Mr. Sinister.
exactly.
Which
Which
I
they're
loved.
playing on in this. Mm-hmm. But they've turned Morph into a character. Yes, he's annoying, but he's likably annoying. I also... sorry, go ahead.
Well, because my one of my choices would obviously be Morph as well. I also like that they're playing with Morph being like a non-binary character.
I think he wants to get with Wolvie, to be honest.
Yeah, that's the impression that I got. Like, I would not be surprised, like, if they did, like, X-Men 97 After Dark, that, like...
Ba-da-bow.
Yeah. I think Wolverine and Morph have hooked up. That's the impression that I have.
I want to get with Jean, but I can't. Morph, I need a favor.
Especially after the last episode.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So obviously Morph is one. What's two for you?
Scott's character.
God, yes.
Is
Okay,
so much
you and
better.
you and I are right on the same page so far.
So far,
I have been a Cyclops stan for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, same here. And here's the thing. He occupies the same space in Mike, maybe you can back me up on this. I don't know. Cyclops and Leonardo kind of occupy the same space in my head.
Okay.
As far as, team leader guy.
The do-good nerd?
Yes. The Boy Scout.
Okay.
Like, you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, no one likes the one who has to be in charge.
Yeah, except me.
Except freaks like us.
Yeah. Gail Simone can shut her mouth.
That fucking superhero landing in that first episode, dude.
Oh, goddamn.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what, though? My favorite moment with Scott so far has just been when he hit the communicator and said, "Storm, give him the forecast."
Or the raid in the opening episode where he's, like, using the beams to propel himself around the warehouse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Where they're... Mike, they introduced... Did I mention that they introduced Sunspot?
No.
Okay, well, they introduced Sunspot. So, I'm excited about that.
Yes.
But the third thing, my number 3, is they're going with Claremont's most popular Storm story arc.
Life, death.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they've reintroduced Forge. Mm-hmm. And I'm all excited about that.
Yeah.
So
no, I'm right there with you, man. Like, as a person who grew up with this original series, and who's always been, like, a big fan of the X-Men, this might be, like, one of the most perfect relaunches of something I've seen so far.
Yep. I'm digging it. I'm really digging it.
Okay, so you gave me 3, so
yeah,
I will come up with
3?
a different 3. Because you already got, like all 3 of the things you said are things that I love and appreciate. So here's even more.
Okay.
So, number 1, it's still very much a soap opera.
Yes, it definitely is.
Yeah, the fact that the love triangle between Jean, Logan, and Scott is still very much there, and now we have the potential love triangle, and I'm not saying a full love triangle because they're doing something with the Rogue and Magneto thing.
Yeah.
But, with Gambit being there.
It's just a love Gordian knot.
It kind of is, yes.
Love rhombus.
Man, is that a show on VH1?
Probably.
Yeah.
It's not, it should be.
Yeah,
but,
God, you're right.
It's so fucking soapy, and I
It
love
is.
it. I love the soap opera elements of the X-Men.
That's when Claremont's stuff was at its best, I thought. So,
like, it's cool to see the mutants do mutant shit, but it's just as cool to see these, like, malfunctioning people trying to live together.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Number 2, Beast.
Just
they're
Beast in
killing
general.
it with Beast. Again, with the literary references, I catch every single one. They all make me happy. He's just like I remember him.
Same voice actor. He's one of the ones that came back, which we'll talk about the voice actors in a second.
Yeah. And then 3, I'm gonna say the inevitable introduction of the New Mutants.
You really think they're going to go there, huh?
Yeah, okay, they've got Sunspot. I think what's gonna happen, because in Claremont's run, Magneto was the headmaster for a while.
Oh,
and
that's
when
right.
they
Yeah.
introduced the New Mutants, so I'm thinking, yeah, we're gonna get Ileana. We're gonna get like we already have Sunspot. Like we know Ileana showed
Wolfsbane.
up as well. So yeah. So I think I don't know if they've confirmed a season 2, but I can very much see the show transitioning to we're gonna have some of the other X-Men on other missions or maybe on X-Force.
Right.
And we're gonna focus on the new generation of mutants.
Here's the thing, all right? Here's my guess for what they might do. So the character that Scott was talking to, their liaison with the government, she was the liaison for X Factor after the Muir Island saga when they did the team relaunches, you know, with Jim Lee's X-Men, and then they had like Will Prostachio working on Uncanny, and then they had a few people working on X Factor when it was like Havoc, Wolfsbane, Polaris, Guido. I kind of think they might do X Factor. They might try to do like the original X-Men.
Well, I know
Like
that
that
X Factor
version.
showed up in the original show.
Did they?
Because there was an episode that had Strong Guy and it had
okay.
Polaris.
It's been so long. Okay.
No.
Yeah,
Like
but
again,
I was
I
thinking-
started trying to rewatch the original series before the lead up to this, but I just didn't find the time to do it.
See, I was thinking they do the original X Factor lineup, which was the original X-Men lineup.
Which I'm totally with you there, and I think both of our ideas can mesh happily.
Sure.
Because you have Scott leading. I feel like Scott leading X Factor would be a fun little change.
And then you could have Storm take over on X-Men.
Yeah, Storm could be the one leading the New Mutants. With Magneto more or less just kind of spending time as the headmaster.
Right.
But yeah, like I
This is all
see
speculation,
so much,
of course.
Yeah, this is all speculation. But like, I see so much fucking potential with this.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of Claremont and X-Men, I think one of the things we all remember every episode of the original X-Men was that voice going, previously on X-Men. Claremont at convention appearances has a hat that says that. Which is just fucking great, because he was previously on X-Men. And that kills me. I just fucking love that. So, I'm just super happy it's turned out this good. The animation's amazing. The art's better. A lot of the character designs are just fantastic. Still waiting for Nightcrawler, goddammit.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is like, when is Colossus gonna finally fucking join?
Yeah.
I love Colossus. They introduced they did have a cameo of sorts from Magic.
Yes.
So-
And Colossus.
Yeah, my question is though, like, how does so this is me kind of like looking back at the series and everything like that, because when Ileana was introduced, she was still very much a young child. Here, when Morph turns into her, she's significantly older, and the series doesn't take place long after when the series had originally ended.
It's a year.
So I just don't know, like, when Morph would have encountered Magic.
And I feel like, they're going to end up doing something with that, but I also feel like this is just a nod to the fans to say, hey, guys,
Yeah.
looky.
It's a TV show. I should really just relax. Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah. But it's just so good to have some quality X-Men stuff again.
My plan is to eventually buy a bunch of cereal, and I'm going to, like, start watching it on Saturday mornings.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
Like, just get the vibe going, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
see if I can pull out some of my old back issues of the Jim Lee run. You know, back when those designs were, and that was one of the things I liked about the animated series is that they like smartly used the Jim Lee designs, but used the Claremont storytelling.
Yes,
Like that is a fusion, man. That is a perfect fusion, like chocolate and peanut butter.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just good times to be an X-Men fan, man.
I know, God, and here's the thing: it's the period that I was really into X-Men, like right before it started sucking.
And I'm pretty sure we're gonna get 90s Spider-Man to show up in this season as a
that would
cameo or something.
That would be funny as hell.
Because they've already name dropped Peter Parker.
Did
mentioned
they?
Spider-Man. Yes. The newspaper at the very beginning of the series. It's a copy of the Daily Bugle.
Oh, God.
There is a photo spread of the Hellfire Gala with reporting by Eddie Brock and photography by Peter Parker.
Son of a bitch.
And one of the headlines is Spider-Man a Mutant? Yeah,
okay,
like,
somehow I missed that, and I'm mad.
Yeah, that seems like way too much to put in just to be a reference, you know what I mean?
Right.
And, you know, it would be crazy if, like, because I've heard, and this is just kind of a rumor, that because X-Men 97 has gone so well, they're thinking about, like, continuing the 90s series in general.
Oh,
building
God,
kind of a
really?
90s universe.
Oh, wow.
So you could potentially have Spider-Man be a teacher at the academy for a while.
You really think they do that storyline?
I would love it. I would appreciate it, especially if they.
I just think it's funny.
Yeah, I just but yeah, like if you watch the beginning of that episode when that newspaper comes down, look closely.
Good God.
And even the references to the Hellfire Gala costumes. One of the costumes looks like it's dupe.
Really?
Yeah, like because it's like a green potato shape.
Oh God, yeah, from that run of X Factor. Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
Like the recent episode where they have all these classic cover references.
Yes. Oh God, and there's one photo that is like the very last picture Jim Lee drew of them in that Mojo storyline. Yeah.
So oh God, as an X-Men nerd, I am just incredibly because it took me a while to really get into Marvel as a kid because I didn't really have access to a ton of the comics, but I could always get issues of X-Men because it was their biggest title.
Right.
When I was a kid.
Yep. Nope. I agree.
So like I was a pretty hardcore X-Men fan as a kid. I used to be able to get issues at the Albertsons grocery store because they had a fucking spinner rack. And they had like some Superman, some Batman, some X-Men, and some Spider-Man.
Yeah. Now, Mike, you can back me up here. Me and Mike, when Mike would stay over for the weekends, my parents would get up like super fucking early to go grocery shopping at the local Jitney Jungle, which was our grocery store. And right next door was a K&B Drugs, which it's kind of funny, Mike.
Yeah.
Jitney Jungle founded here in Jackson. K&B Drugs founded in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So, K&B had, a magazine rack, like one of the front corners, and there were 2 racks of comics, and me and Mike would go over there and, like, browse the comics and magazines. And, God, I remember we walked up there to get the first issue of Spawn. Remember that, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
Polybagged and everything. Oh, man.
I wonder how the progress is on that new Spawn movie that McFarlane's trying to get made. It's been in development hell forever.
If there's any justice in the world, it's not coming out.
Like, I like Spawn. I think in the right hands, Spawn can be really good.
Just not his.
Yeah, like the HBO series, that first season of that show, incredible.
Animation wasn't that great, but yes, I watched it.
Yeah, like tonally on point. I think the storytelling was pretty good.
I felt like it did a better job of telling that story than the comics did.
Yeah, I honestly, I would love to write like a storyline for Spawn.
Oh yeah.
It's a fun idea. It's a fun idea.
Yeah, I mean, it can be. I mean, I have no idea what's happening in there now.
Yeah. I think now there is another, because there's all these like different health spawn of different eras. So there's like a Western gunslinger spawn, which like honestly that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. But they did that. It was the Ghost Rider with a horse.
Yeah, or there. Speaking of characters, I would love to eventually write is fucking Ghost Rider, man.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay. Speaking of Todd McFarlane, there's a dude I found on YouTube called Matt with 4 T's.
Yes.
Okay, great docs on different creators, and he did one recently on McFarlane. And it gets into the whole Tony Twist lawsuit thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you're sitting there going, hey, good on you for succeeding, but you've always been a dickhole.
Yeah. Did you watch the documentary he did on the Peonies, ElfQuest?
Yes, actually, I did. I watched the one on ElfQuest.
Good.
That was pretty good.
So good. Yeah.
I love the fact that Mike, I don't know if I told you about this. He's planning on doing one about Jim Lee.
Okay.
But he says he's not doing it until he can interview Jim Lee. So that's kind of a tall order. I hope he does it.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I'm remembering the days of the image revolution, man.
Oh yeah.
That was a hell of a sea change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, me and Mike were there for it, and it's funny because Wizard was there, but I got all my information from Comics Scene magazine.
Yeah.
Which
tell you what though, man, I miss Wizard magazine.
Yeah, I miss Toy Fair.
Like every that one too. Like every month we'd go to the mall, the next town over, and I always go to. It was Walden Books, and it became Borders. But I would always go to the magazine section, and I would always buy whatever that month's issue of Wizard was.
Yeah. Man, bringing it full circle and keeping it about Wizard. Excuse me. They did this thing every issue or two. They would do where they fan cast a comic book movie, and they fan cast X-Men. And at the time, these were fantastic ideas for who they were going to cast. Like Cary Elwes as Cyclops, Iman as Storm, which I'm like, that's fucking perfect. Robert De Niro as Wolverine. I'm like, okay, nope, I'll allow it. That kind of fits.
Is it any sillier? Is it any sillier than Danny DeVito as Wolverine? Because we are all aboard the Danny DeVito camp.
I'm all about Danny DeVito as Wolverine, but Robert De Niro, ugly, violent man. Yes. But of course they said Patrick Stewart as Professor X, and everybody was like, well, no shit.
Yeah, he's already got the hairdo.
Yeah, the filmmakers were like, duh.
Yeah.
Now, did you ever hear about how they got Patrick Stewart?
How did they do that?
They brought him an issue of X-Men. I think it was you remember when they had the black and red uniforms? I don't remember which X-Men that was. New X-Men or something like that. And it was like weird ribbed, and they had like giant X's on their chests. So that artist based his version of Xavier on Patrick Stewart. So they brought him a comic, and Patrick Stewart looked at it and said, what am I doing in this comic book?
It's kind of like the Ultimate Marvel doing Nick Fury, and it's just Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, and from what I understand, his comment was, I either need to be in this movie or we need to have a talk with our lawyers. And fortunately, he did the movies.
Yeah. Tell you what, though, man, best part of those first two X-Men movies, Patrick Stewart and Gandalf. I can't. Ian McKellen.
Ian McKellen. Yeah. No, that fucking became a fucking platonic love affair, and I love it. I'm there for it.
Always has been.
Yep.
Always has been between those two.
Yep.
The Xavier and Eric. Yeah.
Yes. So, guys, I talked about my thing here.
Yeah.
We got some questions from the Peanut Gallery.
Shit.
Yep, I did a call for pop culture questions. Let me see here. Kick-Assatron, we're going to start with him, asks, what's everyone's favorite movie or TV show that isn't available on any streaming service?
I should have been able to prep for this one. Fuck. Okay. No, I have a movie.
Okay.
And it's Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
That's not streaming?
Okay, it is, but I have to get a subscription to a streaming service that I do not already have to watch it.
Okay.
On top of that, I will throw actually a lot of Abbott and Costello movies, because also The Time of Their Lives, Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy, Abbott and Costello Meet Captain Kidd. Yeah, just Abbott and Costello.
Okay.
Yeah.
And TV show?
The Abbott and Costello TV show.
Goddamn, son. Okay. No, I remember that. Joe Besser was on there. I'll give you such a pinch. Anyway, Mike, how about you?
So up until a week ago, I could have said Macross and been a slam dunk.
Oh,
but
yeah, no.
Yeah.
And who's
Speaking
getting
of
that
huge
again?
news,
Disney is going
Yeah.
to be playing that. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, not everything. So there are some things that they're only getting like the movie version, and they're not getting the original Super Dimensional Fortress because of the whole Harmony Gold.
Are they
thing.
getting Do You Remember Love?
No. That's
Okay, so they're not
kind of-
getting any of the original.
They're getting
Super
the
Dimensional Fortress.
second movie that came after Do You Remember Love.
Oh, okay.
But Do You Remember Love is part of the original Harmony Gold.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because they
So-
put it out as Robotech the movie,
Yeah.
or tried to.
So, barring that,
Yeah, because I feel like you saying that is great because that's a win for you. You're getting it.
I'm
but
so
I
happy
can't
for you.
think of anything there though.
No movie?
I don't know of anything that I can't watch.
Okay.
You know, you mentioned Harmony Gold, and that just makes me think that one of the things I wish we could do at some point on this show is kind of like how we have research episodes of Supernatural Selection.
Oh, we do
Have
like a
like
book club for a show?
Or even just like, here's the history of Macross.
Oh, yeah. Mike, you should
Or-
be in charge of that one.
Yeah, I would love to have like Mike do an episode where he just kind of
So-
like gives us the history of
So basically,
Macross.
do Supernatural Selection, but about nerd shit.
But for
okay, I
for the
gotcha.
distraction hole.
Okay, so on our Supernatural show, we're ripping off last podcast. Now you want to rip off Wizard and the Bruiser. Cool, gotcha.
Yeah, shit, it
All right.
kind of sounds like Wizard and the Bruiser, yeah.
Yeah, okay, no, that's cool. I'm down for that. We can start doing that every now and again.
Well, and here's the thing. I already know one of the questions we're getting tonight, and I'm pulling up the essay in question,
Okay.
and I'm like, I could do an episode. I could fill an hour.
Oh,
talking
dude,
about this thing.
do it for the Patreon.
I might just read the entire essay for the Patreon because it's we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Yeah. So, as for me, TV show, Misfits of fucking Science. It's nowhere. You cannot get... You might be able to find some stuff of it on YouTube, and that's my caveat here. I'm talking about legally streaming on a place that has the rights to stream it. Okay? So, like, Misfits of Science is streaming nowhere. And it was like a sitcom version of the X-Men. Kevin Peter Hall was in it. You know who Kevin Peter Hall is?
Sounds so familiar. I'm seeing Courtney Cox.
Okay, yes, she was in that. But Kevin Peter Hall, huge, tall, African-American gentleman.
Oh, yeah,
passed
Predator,
away from
Predator.
AIDS. Played Predator, played Harry from Harry and the Hendersons.
Okay,
In the
okay.
movie and the TV show. And he played a real tall dude, and his thing was he could shrink because he was trying to work up a formula to reduce his height to something normal, and it made him a mutant. You pinch him on the back of the neck, and he'd shrink. It was just stupid.
I like
it was. You need to watch the opening credits because it starts out with a lounge singer doing the theme song on a television, someone trying to watch Misfits of Science, and this, it's those misfits Misfits of Science, as a dude, like, physically assaults the television to stop it. And then goes into the theme song. It was
This feels like something I want you to reboot. Like, I want you to get the IP.
Oh, my God, I would love to.
We will raise the money on Patreon to get the IP, and then you will write a new season of this show.
David, there was a guy who they had to keep frozen in an ice cream van.
Shit, man,
He
I
only
need to watch
appeared.
this.
He only appeared in like a couple of episodes, and that's why they drove around in an ice cream van all the time. So that's the TV show I wish was streaming, and the other thing, the movie, it's on YouTube, but not legally on YouTube. It is a movie. Mike, you know what it is.
Okay.
Simon. 1980, starring Alan Arkin, and it's got like a bunch of people in it that like you wouldn't expect to be in a movie like this. It's got the dad from Alf for some reason, and but the basic idea is this dude is was an orphan. Alan Arkin plays an orphan named Simon. He's a low-level teacher at a college. He's interested in doing sensory deprivation experiments, and this government think tank that was supposed to solve all the world's problems got bored and started just doing elaborate social pranks. So they decided to get him, put him in isolation for like 2 weeks, and when he's become mentally goo, they reprogrammed it to think he was an alien.
What the fuck?
And like one of the things they talk about in the movie is it starts off like a documentarian talking to the members of the think tank, and he's introducing one dude, this one guy from Indiana. He says he's responsible for the like the Nixon swap, the Nixon swap, and the interviewer goes, "What's that?" And the Indian guy just looks up from where he's been levitating something with his mind and just looks at him and says, "The Nixon who went to China is not the Nixon who came back." And then it just cuts.
I have never heard of this.
Oh my God. It came out in 1980. There's a supercomputer that just looks like a giant touch-tone phone receiver from the 80s. All the buttons are CRT monitors. It's insane, and I adore that movie.
That's incredible.
He finds a fucking cult run by a former advertising executive, and like the TV guide is their holy book, and their hymn is the Campbell soup jingle. Like, imagine a church choir singing "Mm-mm, good." I love that movie. So that's my two. Next question is Man in Black saying, "What's your first anime?"
I'd say probably Pokemon.
Really? Okay, I forget.
Well, no, I take that back. Like, the first anime I ever saw, but I just thought it was a cartoon, was Gigantor.
Okay.
Because my dad had it on VHS.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, are we talking like that I actually watched and knew was... like,
you may not have known it was Japanese, but the first thing you saw that you knew, well, this is different from everything I've ever seen before, and then later realized this is anime.
Well, so, like, I saw Speed Racer when I was probably, like, 5 or 6.
I don't even know that I count Speed Racer.
Maybe even 7. It was definitely earlier than anything else I'd seen.
Right.
And I know my dad at the time told me it was a Japanese cartoon.
Right.
But...
yeah, I don't know if you can, like... yeah, because Speed Racer, the same thing with, like, Astro Boy, because they had brought Astro Boy to the U.S. as well.
Like, almost immediately.
But barring that, it would have to be, Robotech. I mean...
okay.
I can't think of anything other than that.
I've got one before Robotech, believe it or not. Voltron.
I don't know if I saw that before Robotech or not.
I know I did because it started playing while I lived in Vicksburg. And Robotech came out after I moved to Jackson. So I know it was Voltron, and I was fucking obsessed with it.
Now here's a question. could we count Thundercats because
No.
it was animated by
Nope.
a Japanese studio?
Nope, it was because it was animated by a Japanese studio, but the keyframes and stuff were drawn by Rankin Bass here in the States.
Okay, yeah. I mean, because you were talking about, like, you knew it was something different, and, like, I
Sure.
had that immediately with Thundercats.
Here's the thing. With Thundercats, I was like, this is the guys that did The Hobbit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my immediate thought was, this is the Hobbit people. And I was right. I was a big-ass nerd as a kid. So, Kick-Ass, Tron, and Man in Black, thank you for those questions. The last one is, of course, from the Big Daddy, the God Emperor Ghostforge. For David, please nerd out over that one anime you did a paper on. Like, fucking expound.
Okay. So yeah, this was, I actually have the paper. I think this is the latest draft. This is when I was still doing things like Final Draft Revision 2, Final Draft, Conference Version, Final Draft,
God.
Part 3.
I hate that period where it's like, final 6.
Yeah. I changed my file naming system after a while. So
would
this
hope.
one is dated to December of 2016.
Oh, wow.
I think this might have been after I had finished my degree and they had me come back to do a presentation. They had me do the same thing and do a talk about my my game,
oh, right.
my Lovecraftian game. Yeah, they actually had me as like a
Darklands,
featured
was
speaker.
that it?
Yeah, Darklands. Yeah.
Right.
So
now
yeah, this is
don't
dated.
don't read the whole thing, but give us a good summary.
I'm trying to figure out if I should at least read the opening paragraph, but then that is also like a page and a quarter.
What is the anime?
So the anime is Crest of the Stars.
Oh, you've talked about that on here.
Yeah. So the title of the essay is Post-Colonial Hybrid Identities in Crest of the Stars.
Yep, you're not reading that in full here. That's
Okay,
but nonetheless, I remember you talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. Let me read the first couple of sentences, and then I will read the thesis statement.
Okay.
Because I think that kind of, like, establishes everything.
All right.
Okay, here I go. How does one position themselves within the context of an empire? Science fiction stories of empires often look at issues of imperialism and hybridity, and in the space opera, Crest of the Stars provides its own fascinating spin on these issues. Crest of the Stars is an anime adaptation of a series of light novels by science fiction author Hiroyuki Morioka. It is also the opening act to a much larger, longer, ongoing series that concerns a war between two galactic empires, one represented by humanity and the other represented by a genomically engineered artificial human species known as the Ob. Okay, so that's kind of how I introduce the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I have, I quote an author about, like, borders of hybridity beyond marginality and identity, so I'm just going to follow up there, and this is the thesis. Here, Wojciech, who's the author, indicates that establishing identity through discourse is a challenging prospect because any form of nationalistic identity is of a plurality, as any nation is of a self and projects internalized differences upon an other. Attempting to find singular identity is cognitively problematic because hybrid figures are of two or more expressively different positions according to the structures of empires. Even one's nation or empire is a plurality because of the nature of trying to forge an identity, as one cannot have a nationality without having something to compare it against. So, basically
Okay.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, can you paraphrase that as a cracked article?
Yeah, so these four characters I'm trying to be pithy, but, like, basically it's like these four characters struggle to deal with their identity within an empire. Some succeed, some go crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically the essay is just looking at this first series of light novels for Crest of the Stars, and I look at four particular characters that are in this, like, empire, called the Humankind Empire Ob, and they represent different shades of being able to kind of like forge an identity they're comfortable with within this empire. And it's a very interesting anime. A lot of people would probably say it's very slow, but like you know me and my love of political stuff.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, like that's how many pages was this? About 26 pages. 5, 6, 7, 8 pages of transcripts.
Jesus.
And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages of references.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, no, it was and this isn't the longest thing I've written, but like it's a significant what I want to do is eventually like it's almost 10 years old now.
Wow.
Yeah, looking at it like if 2000
Yeah, you said 16.
Yeah, so I think maybe like once we hit like December of this year, maybe I'll go back and edit it, expand upon it, and see if I can shop it around to some journals. Because like it's
there
a good,
you go.
It's a good analysis of I'm not just kind of tooting my own horn here, but
sure,
like,
no.
Yeah, it's well written, I think.
Yeah, hey, is Anime News Network still around?
Right.
Send
yeah,
it in the
like
Protoculture Addict.
Yeah, but no, it's cool because like a lot of it is just me kind of analyzing conversations where these characters, like this is how like slow it is. Characters will literally talk about their positions within an empire for like 5 to 10 minutes.
Fucking hell.
And I fucking love it. I love it so much.
There are times and stuff like that where I feel like Peter Griffin is somebody throw a pie or something. Jesus. But
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Wow. Thank you, Ghost Forge. This is your fault. I'm kidding. So, guys, I got a game.
Yay.
A game.
And it came to me late in the day when I discovered a thing. Let me get this pulled up real quick. Mike, you were there when I found this.
Yes.
Trying to get
He was there when it happened.
He was in the room where it happened. Let me scroll past the cat pictures. Okay. So, guys, someone posted, this is a Mark Laidlaw. I don't know who that is. The first line of any book can be vastly improved by making sure the second sentence reads, and then the murders began. First example being, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and then the murders began. Also true. So, I got to thinking, let's take a favorite book of ours, and let's put that at the end and see how that works.
Okay.
Okay.
It's going to require, like, I'm not going to be able to go to my shelf and pick up some books, but I did find, like, a listicle of, like, 18, like, iconic openings to books, so I'm probably going to use that.
Okay.
So, I can go ahead and roll one out if you want.
Sure.
Okay. We were somewhere around Barstow on the edge of the desert when the drugs began to take hold, and then the murders began.
Nice. Oh, God. Okay.
Obviously, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas by Hunter S. Thompson.
Yep, we were just outside of Vegas when the murders began. Let's see. Let me do one real quick, see how this works. Mm-hmm. Far out in the uncharted backwaters of the unfashionable end of the western spiral arm of the galaxy lies a small, unregarded yellow sun. And then the murders began. Hitchhiker's Guide, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what to use.
How about the one you did? You did at work?
Because that wasn't even the first sentence. Because that was the beginning of the chapter, but wasn't the prologue.
Well, yeah, but let's.
And that's not even the first sentence either.
Well, if you're looking for one, can I go ahead and do another one?
Okay.
Okay. Once there were 4 children whose names were Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. This story is about something that happened to them when they were sent away from London during the war because of the air raids. And that's when the murders began.
God damn, dude. Lion Witch in the Wardrobe, really?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So I was scrolling through my Kindle, and I think I came across one. I've never really read the book before, but how about this?
Okay.
In the weeks before their departure to Arrakis, when all the final scurrying about had reached a nearly unbearable frenzy, an old crone came to visit the mother of the boy, Paul, and then the murders began.
Oh my god, that's great. All right, this is one. I'll go ahead and I'll see if you can figure this one out. It was love at first sight, and then the murders began.
You know, my problem is, Kevin, is all your Kindle books are crapped up in my
Oh,
Kindle.
yeah, I know. We've talked about that. The fact that you now understand the depths of my depravity for our show.
You have way more books than me, and I can't find my books in your books.
Yeah, you might want to put yours in a collection.
How about I quarantine
which book was that
yours
again?
somewhere?
That was Catch-22 by Joseph Heller. Oh, here's an article, the 10 most famous opening lines for English books.
Okay, here, I got another one.
Okay.
It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. And that's when the murders began. And that was Pride and Prejudice.
Okay. Yeah, I was actually just about to read that one. I think we may... Are you on English Live, too?
I'm on Penguin's 18 of the Best.
Oh, okay. All right, here's one. In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice that I've been turning over in my mind ever since. And that's when the murders began. It's the Great Gatsby.
Nice.
So, I mean... So, what would you consider? Because I got kind of hung up. It's like, does the prologue count? Do you start at the first chapter?
I'd say it could be the first chapter. Would count.
This one isn't very interesting. In either prologue or first chapter.
Can I do one more?
Sure.
We call that a twofer.
Yeah, it's a twofer, yeah. If you really want to hear about it, the first thing you'll probably want to know is where I was born and what my lousy childhood was like and how my parents were occupied and all before they had me and all that David Copperfield kind of crap. But I don't feel like going into it if you want to know the truth. And that's when the murder began.
Makes me want to shoot John Lennon.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was thinking. I really want to blow away John Lennon and melt into the book. That is Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, which I read that at just the right time. I read it after I was a kid and before I had the capacity to commit political assassination.
Every young male reads that book at exactly the right time when they're at their most misanthropic.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got one, Mike, or should I do another one?
You can do another one because I'm coming up like turds.
Okay. All right. When Mary Lennox was sent to Misselwaite Manor to live with her uncle, everybody said she was the most disagreeable-looking child ever seen. And that's when the murders began.
That works. And what book is that?
The Secret Garden.
Holy God. Okay.
Okay, I got one.
Go ahead.
High school is all about fear, and then the murders begin.
God damn. Wow.
I made a school shooting joke today. I'm trying to remember what the context was.
What book is that, by the way?
It's something I wrote.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Except not the murders part.
Here's one. Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of number 4 Privet Lane were proud to say that they were perfectly normal, thank you very much, and that's when the murders began. Oh, God. It's kind of fun.
Oh, man. Okay, here's from The Color Purple.
Oh, no.
You better not tell nobody but God. It'd kill your mammy. And that's when the murders began.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
Okay.
Everyone my age remembers where they were and what they were doing when they first heard about the contest. And then the murders began.
Oh, wow. What was that?
Ready Player One.
Oh, wow. Nice one. Okay, here's one. Once upon a bar, there was a mischievous boy named Tom Sawyer who was always getting into trouble, getting off on danger. And that's when the murders began. Fucking Tom Sawyer.
Okay, got another one.
Okay.
The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind or another, his mother called him Wild Thing, and Max said, "I'll eat you up," and so he was sent to bed without eating anything. And that's when the murders began.
Okay, I don't know if that's where the wild things are, or if
Yes.
it's Deviant by Harold Schechter. Jesus.
No, it is where the wild things are. Just
Okay.
this kid killing people in a wolf suit.
Out there, oh my God. Oh Lord, that makes me wonder. Hang on. Mike, you got another one?
No.
Let's see. Yeah, I'm still kind of like rolling through and finding. It works pretty well with some children's books.
Yeah. Well, here's a few more from that initial post. How's that?
Okay.
In a hole in the ground, there lived a hobbit. And then the murders began.
Oh, man.
Mayman died today, and then the murders began.
Oh, man.
Oh, Lord. Tika Whalen straightened her back with a sigh, flexing her shoulders to ease her cramped muscles, and then the murders began. But this last one may be my favorite. The Dungeons & Dragons role-playing game is about storytelling and worlds of swords and sorcery, and then the murders began. Oh, man, that's a good one. I like that one for some reason.
Let's see.
The boy with fair hair lowered himself down the last few feet of rock and began to pick his way toward the lagoon, and that's when the murders began. Lord of the Flies.
There we go.
Felt that was
very
appropriate.
fitting. Very
Yeah.
fitting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not like children murdering.
I got one more. It's not a book, but you'll see where I'm going with this.
Okay.
Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered weak and weary over a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore, while I nodded, nearly napping, suddenly there came a tapping, of one gently rapping at my chamber door. "'Tis some visitor," I muttered, tapping at my chamber door, "only this and nothing more." And that's when the murders began.
It was Jason.
Here is Edward Bear coming downstairs now. Bump, bump, bump on the back of his head behind Christopher Robin. And then the murders began.
There's a movie about that right now.
Call me Ishmael, and then the murders began.
I don't know why I like that. I decided not to do that one in the hope someone else would.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work, but still pretty fun. Oh man. Yeah, I wish I had known about the game, because I probably have a couple books where this would have really worked, but just pulling up the list was working.
I got one more for you, and then we can wrap things up. It was 7 o'clock of a very warm evening in the Seone Hills when Father Wolf woke up from his day's rest, scratching himself, yawned, and spread out his paws one after the other to get rid of the sleepy feeling in their tips. And that's when the murders began. So that's The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling, which I feel like you could follow up any sentence in that book with, and that's when the murders began.
Right?
Yeah.
Probably.
This also reminds me of the Chinese food, like, ad in bed at the end of the fortune cookie.
Yeah. Mike, what were you saying?
Nothing.
Oh.
Really.
Okay. Okay. Anybody got anything else we want to go over real quick?
Nah.
No.
All right. This is going to be a long one. You get your editing cut out for you, David.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yep. That being said, be sure to head to supernatpod.rocks for more episodes of this show and to check out our main series, Supernatural Selection, where we tell you the strangest, dumbest, and most interesting things we can find in the world of the paranormal. Also, check out the YouTube channel. It is up to date on Supernatural Selection, and I am now using Premiere to edit those. So, yay! David, you got any plugs?
No plugs. I guess my mom and my stepfather are now listening to the show.
Jesus Christ.
So, hello. I think they
Hi,
actually
everybody.
are patrons. I think they're actually patrons now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
I'm
that's
horrified.
interesting. No, my mom called me very excited to tell me that she was listening to It's a Cult. So.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. Well, best behavior. I guess I shouldn't say motherfucker, huh?
No, not in my context, no.
Okay. No. God, no. Jesus Christ, man. What's wrong with you?
I said no.
Okay,
I
good.
said no.
Fuck. Jesus. Oh, boy. All right. Mike, you got anything you want to plug or bring up? Or
No, I'm staying far away from you now.
okay, I'm going to shut my mouth. So that leaves us with our final thought, our positive affirmation for the episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to sort of paraphrase an XTC song here. Your life doesn't mean much when it's measured out in someone else's time, so don't. Measure it by your time.
And that's when the murders started.
God damn it. I don't know why I didn't see that coming.
Neither did the murdered people.
Apparently. So, thank you for listening, everybody. You are now climbing out of the distraction hole. Hotter, stickier, and moister than when you climbed in. So, we will see you guys next time. So, until then, stay safe. Bye-bye.
Is the distraction hole a shy halluci?
I hope not.
It's a shy hallucination. Booty!